Hey everyone, it's Ali and welcome to Thriftmas, and today we are going to talk about not only my top 10, but your top 10 selling brands of 2023. Alright guys, it might be difficult to get through this one. I kept saying 2024 in that intro. I've got a fever, not feeling the best. I'm sure I don't look the best, but we are gonna get through this video. But anyway, a little bit ago, I asked you guys on my community tab, which I would recommend looking out for. I feel like it's kind of hidden now on like the main page of YouTube, but I like to ask you guys questions on there so you can help contribute to videos, because I think especially when talking about sales and things like that, it's really interesting to see how everybody is doing, because of course I can really only speak for myself and I am only a part-time reseller, so it's nice to get especially people who do sell more full-time, get their input. But as we go into this new year, of course I'm thinking about how I'm gonna source, and I really want to be increasingly more intelligent with how I source, not only with keeping the cost of goods down low, but also picking up the brands that are actually selling for me. And I, for one, am absolutely guilty of picking up things that I think are cute, or maybe they are good brands, but they just don't really sell that well, at least not for me. So I took some time and I went through my closet insights on Poshmark. I don't know about other selling platforms since I only sell on Poshmark, but I do think that Poshmark has a really good breakdown of what is selling for you. And I will get into those brands in a second, but I did also ask you guys what your top 10 selling brands are. Of course, everyone's sales are going to be based on what they have in their closet, but there are some common denominators, and that is kind of what I'm paying attention to and what you might want to pay attention to for the new year. So first we'll go through mine. So not too surprisingly, my top selling brand of 2023 has been vintage, just because I have a lot of items in my closet that I just put vintage for. And honestly, I really do like selling vintage. I think I can definitely say that I have gotten more intelligent over the last 3 years that I've been reselling about what kind of vintage pieces actually sell. And I'm gonna do a whole other video probably in a couple months about 10 very specific items that sell well for me. For example, Old Navy athletic jumpsuits, like that subcategory sells very well for me. But with vintage, I could definitely say like very cool t-shirts or crew necks. More athletic wear tends to sell better, as well as like grandpa sweaters, things like that. If something doesn't scream vintage, it's pretty much not worth picking up, at least I've found. I am actually surprised that my second highest selling brand was Anthropologie this year, because I feel like Anthropologie has been doing terribly for me, and I think the only reason that it is my second highest selling brand is because I do have a lot of it in my closet. For me, I've absolutely learned that I'm not going to pick up Anthro anymore unless it is a very high quality, substantial piece, or if I can get it for quite cheap. But for the most part, I've found most of their pieces just sit. They're not really getting a lot of likes, and they end up selling between like $15 and $25. And I'm sure other people have done whole videos on like really analyzing what brands of Anthropologie do the best, because they have so many sub-brands, and I would be interested in watching a video like that. Maybe Rebecca Allison has actually put out a video on that, because she does a lot of good research videos. So I am gonna look a little bit more into my Anthro stats and see for myself what brands are selling better, but I think usually it's just like the better quality sweaters I feel like sell the best. My third brand is Free People, which again, like Anthro, I don't think it sells that great for me. It's just that I have a lot of it in my closet, but I do have less than Anthro, and I feel like my Free People does sell for more money. So I would actually recommend picking up Free People over Anthropologie. I'm just realizing now that I probably should have started at 10 and worked my way up, but I hope you guys will still stick through the video with me. Remember, I got fever brain right now. Next is Madewell. Again, I just have a lot of Madewell. It's a brand that I can find pretty easily in the thrift store. And as long as I can get something for a reasonable price, $4 or less, especially depending on the piece, I am still very happy to pick up Madewell. And I know the jeans don't do as well as they used to. It used to be like if you found Madewell jeans, you could get like a quick 50 bucks. That's not been my experience so much anymore, but I'd say still a very solid $35 for most of the Madewell jeans, especially if it is more of like a flare cut style or if it is a bigger size. Next up we have Torrid, and I have noticed my Torrid sales going down a little bit. It used to fly out of my closet, honestly. I would put Torrid up and I feel like I would be accepting an offer or somebody would be accepting one of my offers within just a few days. But it slowed down a lot. I can't sell it for as much, and so I've stopped picking it up as much. But it'll be the theme of the day. If I can get a very good substantial piece for a good price, I am still very, very happy to pick up Torrid. Next, we have Old Navy. Old Navy is a very consistent seller for me. It doesn't sell for a lot, but I like getting those big bulk boxes from ThredUp because I feel like I always get a lot of Old Navy, and I'm very happy to throw something up for $15 to $20 depending on what the piece is. But I look at Old Navy as just a very consistent, I know it's gonna sell eventually brand. Zara's kind of the same way. I do like to sell all the pieces that I get in mystery boxes. I would not personally pay up very much for most Zara pieces just because Zara does have big sales all the time. I think you can get the items for decently cheap, so most people are just not gonna pay like the $7 shipping or whatever it is right now on top of your price for brands that are not uber expensive like Zara. Gap is my next brand, and honestly this is a brand that I would like to pick up more in the future because I swear I don't even have that much Gap listed in my closet. I just kind of have listed random things that I've gotten in bulk boxes. But Gap is a very consistent seller for me, and I would kind of put Gap in like the mature category. Of course they have pieces that are great for all ages, but I think a lot of the pieces that I've sold are maybe more mature. And even though it's not necessarily reflected in this data because I don't have a ton of these pieces in my closet, I have noticed that more of my full price sales or very nearly full price sales are from more mature brands, so I do want to focus on those more in the future. Next up we have Eileen Fisher, and I feel like I didn't even sell that many pieces from Eileen Fisher this year. It's just that they have sold for pretty good money, and this is a brand that I still would recommend looking out for, especially if you can get it at the bins or your Goodwills. I wouldn't really pay up for Eileen Fisher because I have found that it does tend to sit for a while, but I still really get excited when I find it. And then my last brand kind of goes in with that mature category, items that I really want to pick up more in the new year, and that is J. Crew. J. Crew makes some solid pieces, and their original retail value is not very cheap at all, but J. Crew can sell very well, and they have a lot of very nice high quality pieces, a lot of very adorable novelty print blouses, things like that. And some pieces can definitely go for a lot of money. So I'm going to be looking out for more J. Crew in the new year, and I would recommend you do as well. Some quick honorable mentions. We've got Lucky Brand, then Levi's, Chico's, American Eagle, Talbot's, and Levi's especially, I would say, is another just old faithful for me. I know I'm always going to sell my Levi's jeans usually for $25 to $35. And I think a lot of those sales actually do come from my men's items. I've talked about it a lot in my last two videos, but I do really want to pick up a lot more men's items in 2024. But that's just my experience. Now let's quickly run through what some of you guys have been selling. And I'm definitely seeing that a lot of people are saying it's the bread and butter brands that are really paying the bills. Sailor Kel said that from a number standpoint, it's the bread and butter, Lululemon, J. Crew, Madewell, but the brands I like to sell that get a lot of interest are Chink, Accept, I don't know that brand, House of CB, Favorite Daughter, French Connection. So I really do not have much experience selling any of those. I think I have one item from Favorite Daughter, one item from French Connection that haven't got a lot of interest, but I will definitely be more on the lookout for those brands in the future. And then Sarah from his Canvas of Grace 3391. This is her top 10. Number 1 is J. Crew. So J. Crew already twice now, so I for sure need to pay more attention to J. Crew. Then Madewell, then Vintage, American Eagle, Lululemon, LL Bean, Levi's, Athleta, Coach, and Iskander. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. And she said only sold a few pieces, but high profit. Lena 7789 said, I've been selling Nikes for many years, and even though I've shifted my business towards more brands and categories, having Nikes as only about 30% of my entire inventory, they still account for over 60% of my sales. And then the remaining 9 brands are UGG, Converse, Adidas, Lululemon, Brooks, Rothy's, Hoka, Vans, Athleta, and Lilly Pulitzer. So they seem to sell a lot of shoes, and I definitely am going to take note of this list for myself because I feel like I do not sell shoes very well at all. And then Kathy at Gansett Deals 837, sorry if I said that wrong, Kathy. She said J. Crew, Nike, Vera Bradley. I do not have good luck with Vera Bradley. Lululemon, Levi's, Polo Ralph Lauren, Madewell, Banana Republic, Everlane, Under Armour, and Adidas. That's 11, but the last 3 are tied. She said almost the same as last year with Everlane moving up because I purchased a whole box from Helpsy. So yeah, of course, everyone is going to be biased depending on how they source, and especially when you buy from Helpsy and you can get like 50 from one brand, that of course is going to impact what your sales look like. But that's why we're looking at so many different people. Goth Kitten Life said Clark's, Steve Madden, which I actually do terrible with Steve Madden. I feel like it sells pretty consistently, but just not for very much money at all. Petals and Peacocks, which I've never sold that. BOC, Old Navy, Pinch, never sold that either. A New Day. I do okay with Target. I was actually surprised that wasn't in my top like 15. Nike, Torrid, Vince Camuto, and it is only their first year. So congratulations on your first year. And then Heidi from Restyle Secrets 8251 said Vintage, J. Jill, Nike, Athleta, Cool, J. Crew, Patagonia, Arc'teryx, Madewell, and Polo Ralph Lauren. Next up we have Lotus Flow 90, who said, my top is Everlane, Madewell, Free People, Good American, Ted Baker, Made the Label, J. Crew, L'Agence, don't know if I'm saying that right, Anthropology, and then For Love and Lemons. And then last but certainly not least, this took me a second, but it is from A Welcome Edition, Anthropology, Lululemon, Athleta, Eileen Fisher, Madewell, Lilly Pulitzer, Free People, American Eagle, Lulu's, and J. Crew. Lulu's is another one that I'm surprised didn't crack my top 15 because even though that brand doesn't sell for a ton, I feel like a lot of times I can sell pieces for about $35. They are known for like wedding, bridesmaids dresses. I feel like pretty much all of my Lulu's items sell decently quickly. But all right, I really appreciate all of you guys who contributed to this video because I do think it really helps us all see what is selling. These are just the brands that are popping out at me. I definitely saw a lot of J. Crew, Madewell, Nike, which I don't actually pick up Nike that often. Levi's, Polo Ralph Lauren. It really is a lot of brands that I think we all can find at our local thrift stores or bins. So that's very good. It's not like none of these brands are selling anymore. Like I said earlier, for me, what I'm going to be focusing on in the new year is of course keeping my cost of goods low because people are just not willing to spend as much on Poshmark, which I totally get. People just have less to spend in general these days. But because of that, I'll be doing more bulk boxes, more trips to the bins, and more like sale days at my local thrift stores for sure. And I am also going to be focusing on all these brands, more mature brands for sure, as well as men's, because my men's items have been selling pretty well and for pretty close to full price. But if you like this video and you are enjoying Thriftmas so far, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!